Have you reduced your thermostat to bring down the temperature in your house to reduce energy costs over winter? And have you seen an increase in mould in your house as a result? Well, that's what we've seen. So I'm trying to find natural ways that I can combat that mould in the house. And I've been looking at houseplants. Like many people that have been looking at reducing their energy costs this winter, we reduced our thermostat by 1 degree. What this means is the house is generally a little bit cooler. As a result, there's more moisture in the house. So, like many people, we found that there has been an increase in mould over this winter in our house. It's because they've got this cooler, damper environment in which to thrive. Ways to try and combat this are to improve airflow in the house, so by opening windows. Obviously during wintertime when you're trying to keep the house warm, it doesn't really particularly work well at then having the windows open and all the energy going out. So it's not something that you can easily do. We use a dehumidifier to extract moisture from the atmosphere and reduce the humidity, and that is a less favourable environment for mould, so it doesn't grow quite so well in that environment. Of course, when we're trying to save energy costs through reducing our heating, it doesn't help because we're then using energy to run the dehumidifier. Now, whilst we do use green energy here, we have a supply from wind and solar, I would much rather reduce the costs of the energy that we're using, obviously. What I did try was getting hold of a bleach spray to spray onto the mould. I believed that this was going to remove that mould and that it wouldn't be a problem, but obviously the environment would still be the same, it'd still be quite moist, so I'd have to combat that. As it turns out, this wasn't the best idea, and I'll come on to that in a moment. I also tried going for what was apparently the UK's #1 mould and mildew blaster, which I believed could be an effective solution. Actually, it turned out to be pretty much the same ingredients as the bleach spray, so there's no difference whatsoever. They've both got a less than 5% ionic surfactants with chlorine-based bleaching. They are actually pretty much the same thing when you look at the ingredients, so I'm not really sure of any real difference between these, but they don't actually get rid of the mould. So what I did for a little bit of research, I have a Clean Green book, and this is by Jen Chillingsworth, and it's got a whole load of things in here about various different cleaning products you can make yourself with natural ingredients. And one of the parts in there is a mould and mildew section. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown. And it says that many homes can suffer from mould and mildew problems due to poor ventilation and high humidity levels. Mould thrives in dark, moist conditions, saturating walls and furniture with black or white spores. Mould and mildew can harm your well-being and trigger breathing difficulties for those suffering with asthma and allergies. Now there is a recipe in here to make your own tea tree mould spray, which is a natural attempt to try and combat that mould. And what they're saying here is that lots of people use bleach to try and get rid of mould, but all the bleach does is remove the colour, leaving the spores behind. So that's why I've stopped using the bleach spray and the identical mould and mildew spray that had the same ingredients, because they are just going to be leaving the spores behind. They're not tackling the problem. So the author had found that spray that she recommended with tea tree was quite effective, but also it then talks about other tips that you can undertake. So once you've eradicated mould and mildew from your home, try these preventative tips to stop it from reoccurring. So open windows to allow fresh air. After a shower or bath, open a window. Leave extractor fans running for 10 minutes after showering or having a bath. Dry wet areas immediately. Use a squeegee to remove condensation from windows and doors. We have invested in a Karcher window vacuum. So what this is, it's got a squeegee and a vacuum so that you can use it on the tiles in the bathroom to remove the moisture after you've showered. And we do that around the bath as well, so that all the moisture is removed, as well as opening the window. It just helps get a nice aired room by doing that. And I found that really effective. They say about investing in a dehumidifier to reduce humidity levels, making the house less hospitable to mould and mildew spores. Now, as I said, that obviously is utilising electricity, so there is the cost involved in that. Now, this is the interesting bit, and that's why I've got all of this foliage around here, and it's saying, pop a peace lily in rooms where mould and mildew are a problem. Peace lilies can can reduce the amount of mould spores in the air, using them as a food source and absorbing the spores through their leaves. Peace lilies thrive in rooms with high humidities, so bathrooms are ideal. So it's talking about plants actually being used to combat mould spores. So I did a little bit of further research. I read an article from House Beautiful, which was 7 common houseplants that can help banish mould. So there is the peace lily, English ivy, snake plant, which is this one here. You can use palms, sword fern, spider plant, which we already have in our bedroom, orchids, tillandsia and dracaena, and also Boston fern, which is this one here. So they're all ones that can help reduce moisture and combat mould. Now the Clean Green book was specifically talking about this peace lily here actually ingesting the mould spores and combating it that way. So that seems a really good way of reducing mould. So what I've done, I've gone and bought a couple of these large peace lilies, a couple of these snake plants and a Boston fern. I'm going to be popping those in the bedroom area where we've got the worst outbreak of mould that we're trying to combat, as well as potentially the bathroom. I think the Boston fern will probably go quite well in the bathroom to help reduce moisture there and tackle it in the house as a whole. Now obviously at the moment I don't know how this is going to go, and I will feed back to you at a later stage with another video to let you know how it's all going. But I think this is a pretty good way of trying to combat it. We're getting extra plants in the house, so we're going to be benefiting from having those around to help lift the spirits and also to be taking in CO2 and giving out oxygen. They are going to be combating the mould by taking up moisture and also potentially removing the mould spores. So it seems to be a win-win situation to me. But I'll keep you posted. Now, if you've got any experience of trying this yourself, then please let me know down below in the comments. Let me know what plants you've been using, what impact they've had, whether it's been successful, whether you've tried other plants. Perhaps you've used the English ivy, which I'm not using, but you might have used that one. So it'd be really good to hear from you. So please leave your comments down below. Well, there you go, folks. That's this week's video about how I'm using plants to try and combat mould in my house. Up next, I've got this video that I think you might find useful. And if you haven't done so already, then why not subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you get notified when I load up a new video. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Until next time, bye.